Welcome to the Education Exchange. I am your host, Superintendent Jeremy Calles, here at the Tolleson Union High School District. And today we're going to talk about food. Great topic. We've got our food services team here. So we have Ken, Kimberly, go ahead and introduce yourselves to the audience.
My name is Ken Hicks. I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Tolleson Union High School District and happily been here for over a year and a half.
Good morning. I'm Kimberly Luvisi, the Director of Nutrition Services for Tolleson Union High School District, and I've been here for 22 years.
All right. So food is always a great topic. And you know, I say the only thing better than food is free food. And we are doing a lot of free food. So let's talk about that. Free breakfast, free lunch, free supper, even though I like to call it dinner. What does that look like in our schools right now?
Well, we are fortunate enough to be able to serve students through a program called CEP, Community Eligibility Provision, breakfast and lunch, at no charge to the student or the student's family. Currently, we serve about 12 different entrees every day that the student has to choose from, and with that comes fruits and vegetables and whole grains. In addition to that, we have a different program. It's called At-Risk Supper, where we are able to feed students supper, that students that are on campus for various activities after school.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, so this is different than in past years. So the Community Eligibility Provision, the CEP, is new this year. In previous years, it was more of a narrow interpretation or narrowly funded from the federal government, and they've expanded the funding to allow more districts and a lower threshold for the CEP. So this year has changed, and we have applied and got approved for all of our schools to be CEP.
All right, so let's talk about what that means for our students, our parents, because, you know, for some of our families, they were already receiving a free lunch. But like you said, this is different. Going to CEP is different. What does any parent or student need to do to get free lunch now?
Currently, there is no application process, so they just need to show up in line and scan their ID to receive a breakfast or a lunch.
It is that easy.
Just show up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've been invited to plenty of times where, you know, they had lunch there and I just show up. Guess what I do? I show up. Now let's talk about the breakfast. So what times are we looking at for when breakfast is offered? Is there like a cutoff time that if you're not at the school before X time before school starts and you're not going to be able to still get a breakfast? Like how early do they have to get to school to be able to get a free breakfast?
Breakfast starts about 45 minutes before the first period of the day. There are always extenuating circumstances, or there could be a late bus or something, and we'll hold breakfast for those students that come in late. Usually we get a notification from the principal, and we know to hold breakfast, and they send them on down. But about 5 minutes before the first class, we close off breakfast, but there are always stragglers, so we make sure we get them all.
We proudly would love to serve every single student and provide every single student with a meal. So we will hold off and we go above and beyond to get our students fed.
Nice. Now, what does that breakfast look like? Are we talking about, you know, a bowl of cereal, some eggs and bacon? Like what exactly are they getting for that free breakfast?
So they have a choice between a hot item, which could be French toast or waffles, a breakfast sandwich that includes sausage and egg, kind of like a Egg McMuffin from McDonald's. In addition to that, they can choose from a lot of cold items, donuts or cereal, things of that nature, yeah.
So we're not talking about like when we stay at the hotel and they're like, oh, we got free breakfast. And then you get downstairs and it's like, oh, didn't anyone tell you it's a continental breakfast? Like, here's a piece of bread and some jam. Like we have like a spread out there with plenty of options for our students to choose from.
Correct. We have 6 or 8 options every morning.
Nice. Now, let's talk about the other end of things. Supper. I know that's the federal term. I'm still going to just call it dinner. So when they want to have dinner, these after school activities that are keeping them there at the campus late, is it limited to certain types of activities? So is it only if you're in sports, or like what if you're there for clubs, you're there for tutoring? Like, is there certain activities that are keeping you at the campus that qualify where others don't?
Anything that qualifies as educational enhancement, which could be sports or tutoring or clubs, anything really keeping our students on campus past the school day, they qualify to come and get a supper.
And what time usually is that supper served? Is it served like an hour after school ends,
So it
or
varies a little bit by campus, but 30 to 45 minutes after the dismissal bell is when we begin supper, and it lasts about 30 minutes.
all this free food? It sounds great. Makes you wonder, like, why didn't we do it before? So maybe let's talk about the finance piece of this. Like, what exactly is it that's allowing the district to start offering all these free meals now for all students, that's available now that wasn't available in past years?
So prior to this school year, we had to have a 40% ISP, identified student population, and we didn't reach that threshold. Identified student population means that the government knows that in their household they receive some sort of government assistance. So in recent years, and due to COVID, they reduced that percentage to 25%. And when that reduction happened, we were able to qualify for the program.
I know that a lot of other school districts have the challenge that they have split up, and I have friends or seen online where there's confusion and frustration that the school right across the street, they have free meals, and the one that they're at does not. This eligibility provision and our threshold where we're meeting it allows us to apply it to every single school in our district.
Now, there is the expression "too good to be true." Is some of this too good to be true? Is it something that's temporarily available just because we're in a post COVID world? Like, are we at fear of, it's all free meals this year, but then next year it's back to business as usual? Like, what are we looking at in terms of the longevity of this program and how long we can keep it going?
It is a federal program, so there could be some future limitations on it. As of right now, there's no limitations. Now, we have to re-up and keep verifying every few years, so there could be some restrictions in the future, but as of right now, it is not.
We're currently locked into this program for 4 years.
All right, so for 4 years. So if you started a freshman here this year, you know that throughout your time here, matter of fact, all of our current students, barring those that want to be super seniors, all of our current students should feel comfortable knowing that throughout their time here at Tolleson, they are going to receive all these free meals then under this current provision.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And I would say the too good to be true provision is the quality of what we serve. For as little money as we're getting, and to provide the quality, nutritious meals that we're providing is the too good to be true. It's amazing.
Nice. Now let's talk about for the district on the finance side. What are some of the impacts for the district to be able to offset some of these costs? So is there a financial impact to the district for wanting to take care of providing all these free meals for our students, or is the federal program so great that it's covering everything?
Well, there is some limitation. So, and not knowing exactly the direction you're coming on that question. So we do lock in for 4 years. And so that is one that there is some financial components that we have to do the calculations, or Ms. Luvisi has to do the calculations to determine our revenue coming in. And we're locked in, depending on student count can fluctuate. And so we had to wait. We had to make sure that our threshold was so high, and we had to push to be able to lock in to get the highest amount of revenue that we'll be locking in at that percentage. So it is a little bit complicated as we're going through spreadsheets back and forth to verify where our revenue is. And so that's one challenging component. The other challenging component is the free and reduced application and process was actually used for lots of other funding streams, not just our food service and nutrition department. And so that is a unique component that now that has to continue, but federal law requires that it cannot be done within the nutrition or our food service department. And so now some of our federal grants that are required to have that component of our free and reduced lunch application process, they will have to do that process themselves. That is new to them. And could that mean that there's less people filling it out in a lower amount because they're like, hey, we're getting free meals. Why am I filling out this application? There are still other funding streams attached to that application and that process.
So that's a great thing for our parents to know, that when they see that they're still being asked about their income level, while the previous incentive was so you can be provided these free meals for your student, Now it's so the district doesn't get harmed on other federal funding if you're not filling out this information for us, even if it's not being used for the food service program, that there are other programs that are dependent on us collecting that information to be able to continue receiving that funding.
Absolutely correct. And very important programs. Some of those Title I, Title II, all the title funds that we receive, all those additional funding, almost all of them are tied to the free and reduced rate.
Now, for any parent out there, and maybe they have students in one of our partner elementary school districts, and maybe they're not offering all free meals. I don't know if all of our partners have moved towards all free meals, but there were they all have.
I don't think they all have.
No, they haven't. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are other reasons why, even if, we are serving the same community, we would have the same socioeconomic status. There is a component where the district is providing some of these extra supports, and maybe some of the other districts then are not as well positioned to be able to do a move like this for their students.
I think that's accurate to say that we are we're in a better position to make sure that we are. And I mean, we've been looking at the numbers for over a year and a half, so it wasn't just in March when they expanded the program and started advertising it. We had started looking at it over a year ago to start looking at the numbers. And so maybe other districts hadn't been thinking about it. They didn't know. Maybe that's why some of them are split. We are in a good position to be able to support and maintain the program.
Now, I'll tell you, for lunch, I frequent a lot of the same restaurants over and over and over again for all the years I've been here. But at some point, you're like, oh, well, I don't want to keep getting that same menu item over and over again. What is it like for our students when, so you're going to be at our schools for 4 years, you're going to be eating the food for 4 years. What are we doing to keep it fresh for them? So that way it's like they're still excited to go into that lunchroom and if it's the same pizza, is it the same pizza for all 4 years, or what are we doing to mix it up and kind of keep them excited to want to go in there and see what's for lunch today?
Well, Kimberly and her team do an amazing job of mixing it up. And so if you want to share with them some of your taste testing and other.
Yeah, we always try. The vendors bring us lots of new things to try. We try new things on the menu. We might introduce something for a week or two, see how it goes to determine whether or not we want it on the menu for next school year. Sometimes we switch the menu up mid-year. If things aren't going well, we start pulling items and replacing them with new things. In addition to that, each spring we do a taste testing with all the students. We do it two ways. One, we do it during the lunch hour at the sites. And then the second way we do it is by bringing the vendors in, and they set up a little mini food show. And the Stugo kids come and they taste everything and they give us their feedback through a survey. And then we're able to determine what needs to go on the menu for the next school year.
Well, the next time you do one of those mini food shows, if you need any PR coverage, I don't think we're going to have much issue, and I might come out there and join as well. So that sounds like a fun event to have a mini food show like that.
So I would say maybe, I don't know, Kimberly, if you have some of the more specific statistics from comparing last year to this year with what the free program from the government going to the CEP program has revealed. What is that? How's that impacted?
Yes, the increase on our participation from moving towards these all free meals.
We have seen an increase. We're feeding about 25% more kids breakfast this year than last year, and we're looking at ways to reach even more of them. And as far as lunch, we're serving about 30% more of our students than we did last year.
So it's an amazing program where more people are receiving a good, nutritious meal more frequently and free of charge. So it's a win-win-win all the way around.
And while we still have all these meals going on, and they're all free, parents may still be getting asked for lunch money from their students. Is that valid? Is there something that students are spending their money on in food services if all the meals are free?
Yes, actually, our snack bars are still going very strong, and we have vending machines throughout the campus. So students are purchasing at snack bars and vending machines.
All right. So if your student's hitting you up for lunch money, it may be a little bit more about wanting to get that energy drink or candy bar than their actual meal then. But they do still have some food stuff, some food items that they can be spending their money on.
Yes, that's correct.
Are they candy bars that they are spending their money on?
No, they cannot get candy bars.
Oh, no candy.
No,
Okay, no,
it
not
has
even.
to be a nutritional value.
Oh, it has to have. Okay, so no candy bars.
candy
It's just
bars. Whole grain items.
whole
good
grain
snacks,
items.
Yes.
What are some of the samples of snacks? Are we talking like a cookie, chips?
Cookies, Rice Krispie treats, some chips that are made with whole grain. Yeah.
Sun chips or what are the Nutri-Grain
The
bars?
Nutri-Grain bar, breakfast bars, Special K bars.
Yep.
So if you're a parent out there and you notice that your student has asked you for just as much lunch money this year as they did last year, is there an app or anything that they can download and be able to see
They can
where their
see-
student has been spending that money?
Yes, absolutely. MyPaymentsPlus.com. They can go and set up an account for their student. They can deposit money into the account. The student can use their ID to access vending machine or snack bar sales. And the parent can monitor where the money is being spent, whether it was spent in a vending machine or at the snack bar.
All right. So if you have one of those students who ate nothing but a cookie and a Gatorade every day for lunch, which full disclosure, that was one of mine. There is an app. They can go in there. They can download that. They can see and they know to keep up on them. And if they really wanted to, they could cut off the lunch money completely and just say, you're going to eat the nutritional meal that they're providing to you, instead of thinking that a cookie and Gatorade constitutes a lunch.
That's correct, yes.
A cookie and Gatorade do not constitute a healthy lunch. We should be encouraging all of our staff to eat, all of our students and staff to eat a good, nutritious meal every day so that they're able to perform at their highest level throughout the entire day.
Now, we on the show, we always try to target parents and students. What other information would you have out there for parents in regard to food services and how they can stay involved or where they should go if they ever have any questions, if they have concerns about their students' allergies or anything else? Like what pro tips can you give to our parents out there when it comes to food services?
Well, one thing I always tell parents when they call and ask me where the money's going, I tell them that because we're now dealing with high school students, to use My Payments Plus as a tool to teach their students how to be responsible with money. So we talk a little bit about, whatever your budget is, maybe you can give them $5 a week or $10 a week, and then set your expectation with your students where and how you expect them to use those funds. If there's parents with allergies or students with allergies that parents need to make us aware of, they can call my office, and we have gluten-free menus, diabetic menus, whatever we need to do to accommodate the student.
So call the main line and just ask for our food service or nutrition department, and she'll take care of it. As a parent, I would, in full disclosure, my wife is a registered dietitian, so we probably focus on food a little more than others, but we would talk to our kids, either elementary or high school, about what you're eating. It's just good to interact with your children. As they get older, it's easy to understand and say, hey, you're becoming an adult or moving into as you're getting older, to let them just be on their own. It's good to interact with them. So just having a conversation about the food program, what you're eating, do you like it, do you not like it? Give us the feedback. We're always working within our federal requirements to offer the best meals possible. I love the taste testing. Like when we were talking about it last spring, when you brought in all the student government kids from all sites to one site, and then had all the food vendors. We had some great feedback. They are determining what we're serving the next semester, and so it's a great. They have direct impact into what we are serving our students. So it's a great way to get a lot of good feedback, and it's good food.
That's the great balance. So, meeting all the federal requirements for having a nutritional meal, but at the same time incorporating student feedback so you can bounce it out. And just because it's nutritious doesn't mean it can't be delicious. And where you're getting those two things, you're getting that intersection going for them of the crossroads of delicious and nutritious, and meeting them in the middle. That's a great way to go about it.
And there's so much data and information about a student that's eating healthy and eating right performs better. We do. I don't know if we all know this, that eat a good, nutritious breakfast and lunch, and we'll be able to work better throughout the whole day. Students will be able to perform in the classroom throughout the whole day. So we encourage everybody. We don't turn away anybody, even in the past. I know it's all free now, but we have never turned away anybody that needs to be fed.
All right. Healthy bodies, healthy minds.
Yes.
Well, appreciate you guys coming on the show to share all this information with our parents, and appreciate all of our listeners out there for tuning in once again to the Education Exchange, where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the end of our show. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, want more information, or would like to be a guest on the Education Exchange, please send us an email at podcast@tuhsd.org. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and tune in next week to the Education Exchange. You can catch all episodes on your favorite streaming devices or directly at www.tuhsd.org/podcast.